Well, I figured it's time for a lupus life update since it's been a while. I owe you guys at least that. So, obviously, I'm in the hospital. Again, I've been here for 4 days, 5 nights. Um, Hopefully, should be going home soon. It started with a cold. I could tell I was getting an infection again. Tried to take care of it quickly by going to urgent care, getting antibiotics, and that kind of helped alleviate the cold symptoms that I was feeling. I was negative for COVID, negative for flu since I've had all the flus already this year, um, but didn't know what was causing the symptoms, so they gave me a bunch of antibiotics anyway. It did help, but I was still getting super bad stabbing pains in my chest that didn't seem to be going away. So I came into the ER just in case I was getting pleural effusions again or pericarditis because I've had both. And usually when that happens, I get the same sort of stabbing pains, and sometimes it's bad enough where that liquid needs to be drained. So I came in, did the routine scans. They couldn't find anything on the scans, so apparently the antibiotics that I was on must have been already kind of helping take care of it, because it did end up subsiding like the next day or two, but I'm still in here because when I came in, they also just happened to find that my platelets were crashing again, like they did in February. When I first came in, they were at an 88, and as they kept testing my blood, they kept going down, 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 down to below 40. And so with it keep trending down, they decided that they were going to put me on an IVIG treatment as kind of a first step. Usually they do a mixture of IVIG and steroids, but I had just tapered off the steroids and did not want to get back on it. So I said, please, let's try to avoid steroids at all costs. We did the IVIG. It took a little over 24 hours from getting the first IVIG treatment for them to go back up. They only went back up to 88, which is like where I was at in the beginning. So not a whole lot of improvement, but it's enough of improvement according to my hematologist that he's okay with sending me home because it's not as much of a bleeding risk, and to just continue to follow up with him outpatient, because I can continue to do IVIG treatments if needed in clinic rather than having to stay here in the hospital. So we might do that, but I also need to follow up with my rheumatologist because this new medication that she just switched me to a month ago, called Myfortic, which was supposed to be like the new and improved Cellcept that didn't give me GI issues. Well, it turns out a side effect of this medication is that it can drop your platelets. So I'm wondering if my platelets are crashing because of this new medication now. So I sent her a note and was like, I know people take IVIG monthly infusions to actually, like, as an actual lupus treatment to fully calm down the lupus and keep them stable and feeling good. And I've seen a lot of people on here have success with it, and it's not an immunosuppressant. So it's like, it can keep my platelets in check, it can keep me feeling good, I tolerate it well, and it doesn't knock down my immune system so I could possibly stop getting all of these freaking recurrent infections. Like, why aren't we doing this? Why am I taking all of these pills? I don't like pills. I'd so much rather do an infusion once a month. So much rather. That would actually be way better for me and my ADHD than trying to remember to take pills an hour before I eat and 2 hours after I eat and all this other stuff, right? Like, my brain can't handle it. So, that's what's going on. Hopefully I go home tomorrow. I don't know. As usual, they're not very communicative. I did end up seeing the ENT that I had mentioned a while back, and they did a CAT scan on my face, and they did find out that I do have a deviated septum in my nose towards the right side that like kind of blocks my right nostril. So I do in fact have breathing problems through my nose like I thought. However, he said it wasn't enough to warrant surgery and we weren't going to do anything about it. So I guess that's that. So that doesn't really help me on the oxygen side of things. And then the Tyvaso, I stopped taking because I couldn't get a hold of my freaking doctor, and it was making me feel like shit, and it was making me faint, or like want to faint. I didn't actually physically faint, but I wanted to faint. I was getting dizzy. It was making my chest burn and my throat burn. I was feeling dizzy after being on that higher dose for a while. And I tried to get advice on like a change in dose or how to taper down or whatever. Completely non-responsive. So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna stop taking it, and I started feeling better. But in here at the hospital, they're like, no, you have to take it. So now I have to restart and start from the very beginning lowest dose, and even then it was dropping my blood pressure like crazy. I already have low blood pressure. We're talking 107/62 pretty consistently without medication, and the Tyvaso lowers your blood pressure even more. So we're here in the hospital and I have a freaking midline and I'm getting fluids like crazy because they made me restart the Tyvaso, and my blood pressure was dropping to like 80s over 50s. I think I was even in the 40s on the bottom number at one point. So they freaked out, and I'm like, well, I told you that was gonna happen. I told you this medication does not make me feel good anymore after being on it for like, it was good at first, not anymore, having issues with it. My body just doesn't like to tolerate a lot of things, apparently. So now I'm stuck here because of that too, because of low blood pressure that is caused by a medication that they're forcing me to take. And then they're pumping me full of fluids to get my blood pressure up, even though fluid retention is bad for pulmonary hypertension. Like, your blood pressure is super low, but take this medication to make it lower. Fluid retention is bad for pulmonary hypertension because it puts added stress on your heart, but we're gonna pump you full of fluids. Whatever.